It's the world's largest and most powerful non-aircraft carrier warship built after the Second World War. It displaces nearly 28,000 tons. It is nuclear powered, which means it has unlimited range, and it's called a battlecruiser because of its massive size and heavy armament. It carries up to 174 vertical launch system cells, bristling with anti-ship, land attack missiles, and hypersonic missiles. And I'm not talking about the new Trump-class battleship, which US President Donald Trump announced on the 22nd of December. This one is President Putin's Kirov-class battlecruiser, the Admiral Nakhimov, which is currently on sea trials after a decade-long refit. Now, the Nakhimov was commissioned in 1988 as part of a class of 4 Kirov-class battlecruisers. Only one other ship from that class survives, the Pyotr Veliki. Now, the Nakhimov's refit has replaced its Soviet-era weapons and electronics with new modern Russian weaponry and systems and sensors. It makes it one of the most heavily armed surface ships afloat. Now, could these gigantic Soviet-era battlecruisers have given President Trump an idea for his new class of warships named after himself? Now, Trump's battleships displace between 30,000 and 40,000 tons and are packed with a main battery of surface-launched nuclear-tipped cruise missiles. They have a 128-cell vertical-launched missile battery. They have a secondary battery of a railgun. Now, a railgun is a gun that fires supersonic rounds using an electromagnetic launcher. Now, this warship also has two 300 kilowatt lasers and two 600 kilowatt lasers. It has a defensive battery of missiles, guns, lasers, and counter-drone systems. Now, this is, of course, an artist's impression. It's just a design, it's a concept. It's not in the water yet. It's not even on the drawing board yet. Now, these guided missile battlecruisers appear closer to the Kirov-class battlecruisers than the Second World War battleships of the Iowa class, the American battleships, which displaced over 60,000 tons. Now, battleships were the dominant warships from the late 19th century to the Second World War, by when they were largely rendered obsolete by aircraft carriers. In fact, two of the largest battleships ever built, the Imperial Japanese Navy's super battleships, the Yamato and Musashi, were sunk by waves of carrier-based aircraft. Now, with the advent of modern drones, long-range anti-ship missiles, and unmanned surface vessels, large capital warships are being seen as a liability by some people. Now, during the Russia-Ukraine war, for instance, in 2022, Ukrainian anti-ship missiles sank the Moskva, the Russian warship that's the flagship of Russia's Black Sea fleet. This 11,000-ton cruiser was the largest warship to have been sunk after the Second World War. Now, Trump has long expressed interest in large, impressive warships, and he's criticized modern Navy designs, designed by the US Navy, of course. The US has in the past floated similar such programs like the Trump battleships. Now, in the 1990s, it had a proposal for an arsenal ship, a battleship-sized warship with a small crew and as many as 500 missile launch tubes to provide ship-to-shore bombardment for invading troops. Now, each ship was calculated to cost nearly $500 million. That's over 3 decades ago. But Congress scrapped funding for the project in 1998. The Navy calculated that it would cost something like $450 million for each arsenal ship. They projected a fleet strength of about 30 such ships. But Congress scrapped funding for the project in 1998. It's now just a concept like this one. Now, Trump's vanity warships face similar hurdles. They look very impressive conceptually, but they will first need to obtain congressional approval. Each such Trump-class battleship is expected to cost something like $2 to $3 billion. That's a lot of money for a class of something like 30 ships, arsenal ships, rebooted. But first, they will need to get congressional approval before construction on this first ship can start in around 2030 or so, if ever at all.